Hello, good to see you again. Welcome to Block 1, Solving Problems with Addition and Subtraction. Lesson 2. I'll share my screen. So in your previous lesson, you learned about properties of addition and subtraction. That lesson is going to help you to think about learning mental strategies for addition and subtraction. So you don't need a calculator all the time. These mental strategies can be very helpful. But before we progress, I would ask you to share the videos to those you think will benefit, like the videos, and subscribe to the channel to help us grow our global mission to educate children who cannot afford high quality maths education or a private teacher. Thank you. Before we start, I would like you to answer these retrieval practice questions in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So here you were simply asked to work out the calculation. So 10 add 17, 10 add 7 is 17. Next, you were asked to work out the other one. So 10 subtract 7 is equal to 3. 12 add 9 is 21. And 12 subtract 9 is 3. Now, you may have spotted that this is the beginning of thinking about mental strategies for doing calculations. So for example, this one here could have helped you work this out, because what we simply did was we made these 2 more, that is 2 more, so our answer would have to be 4 more. So we could have used the knowledge of this to work this out. So we could have said, oh, okay, if I'm adding 2 extra to each of them, then my answer should be 4 extra. So 17 add 4 would have been our answer. Then you could have used the knowledge of this one to work this out. This one should have helped you to work this out. So why? We know this is 2 more and this is 2 more. Well, we're subtracting, so they actually cancel each other out. Increasing it makes no difference. So our answer will be 3. And then next, you were asked to work out. So let's erase this. Next, you were asked to work out, give an answer to show that addition is commutative. You could simply have written a simple calculation to show that. Okay, any calculation would do. Remember, the order in which you write the question does not affect the answer. And then to show that subtraction is not commutative, you could just write any question. You could say, for example, 1 minus 2 is equal to 1, but 2 minus 1 is equal to 1, but 1 minus 2 is not equal to 1. So any calculation would have been good enough to show that example. Let's do some new learning. So remember, the title of our lesson is Learning Mental Strategies for Addition and Subtraction. Which of the following calculations are equivalent to 36 plus 99? Well, let's start looking at them one after the other. So for this one, you can see that it's the same. They're equivalent. Why? 36, we've simply split 36 into 35 and 1. Now we have partitioned 36 into 35 and 1. So they represent the same calculation, and 99 is still there. This one, you can see that we have simply taken 1 from the 36 and added it to 99. So it represents the same calculation. So we've made this 1 less and that 1. We've made this 1 less and the 99 1 more. So we've actually just moved 1 from here over there. So they represent the same calculation. This one is the same calculation. The 99 is still there. We've simply just, written it in a commutative form. And 36 has been partitioned to 30 and 6. The other one represents the same calculation. So 36 is still there, but we now have 99, which is represented as 100 subtract 1. Here we have the 99, we've written it in a commutative form, and we simply partitioned the 36 into 6 and 30. They represent the same calculation. This one, we've partitioned all the numbers. So we've partitioned 99 into 90 and 9 and 36 into 30 and 6. So they represent the same calculation. But which one would you rather use if you were to do this mentally? I would choose that one. That one is a lot quicker to do it. Okay. I'll take one of that, add it to that. Oh, I say, okay, that's 100, 35 is left, so it's 135. How about this one? Now, using number lines can sometimes help us to do calculations. We can either visualize it. So if you practice with number lines long enough, you soon be able to visualize the calculations without actually needing a calculator or having to write it down. But let's practice. So 348 add 97, when we write it out, we can simply say, okay, what if we take 3 from here? What if we just add 100 to the calculation? When we finish having our answer, we say, okay, but we were actually asked to add 97, so we've made it 3 extra. So in the end, our calculation will take away 3 from it. And that's what has happened here. So we add 100 to it. We say, but we were actually asked to add 97. So mentally, we say whatever answer we'll get, we subtract 3 from it. And that's what is happened here. So our answer is 448 minus 3, which is 445. All right. So far we have learned about thinking about addition and subtraction using mental strategies. And we have also learned that you can use number line to visualize how to do these calculations without actually writing it down. But if you need to write it down, that's fine. But the point is for you to develop your mental strategies for doing addition and subtraction. Pause the video and answer questions 1 and 2 in 4 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 1 and 2, let's look at the answers and discuss them. So here you were asked, take the calculation that are equivalent to this. And you can see these are all the calculations that are equivalent to that calculation there, 46 at 99. Okay. So pause and really think about the mental strategies that have been used to write out this calculation. And then B, you were asked, what method would you use to work out 46 at 99? Well, I would prefer this one. I would prefer the one where I would take 46, I'll take 1 from there, add it to the 99, which will make it 100. So my answer will be 145. Okay, so I'll take 1 from there, add it to that, then that will be 145. So there are different mental strategies that you could use. And then here you're asked, look at Scott's method for working out 364 plus 297, and look at what he did. Okay, he subtracted 3, and then that became 361. He subtracted 3 and added 3. So that became 300, and then that's 361, and that becomes 631. So there are different mental strategies, and then you ask, discuss with your partner why Scott's method works. Use Scott's method to work out these calculations. So using Scott's method, we can do the same. So here, using Scott's method, we can subtract 3 here, that becomes 25. And then here, if we subtract 3, that becomes 95. Okay, so here we can add 2 to this one. That becomes 30. And then here we can subtract 2. That becomes 96. So 30 plus 96, that's 126. All right, so these are some mental strategies that you need to master and that you can use. Okay, here for the number line method, the number line shows a different way to work out 364 plus 297. So added 300, we know we've added 3 extra. So we know if we add 300 to 364, we'll have 664. So in our calculation, we need to reduce it by 3. So our answer is 661. And then you're asked to use a number line to work out these calculations, to work out these additions. All right. So these are mental strategies that you can master and that you can use and that can be very, very helpful. So for example, this one, we have looking at the answer. I'm sure you've worked through the answer. So here, okay, we add 3,000. And then in the end, we know that we've added 5 more. So in our answer, we know we're going to have, if we're adding 3,000 to this, we're going to have 6,516, but we added 5 more. So if we take 5 from 16, that will be 11. So our answer will be 6,511. So really cool mental strategies that you can use for addition and subtraction. All right, let's do some new learning, having answered the first part of our questions for the lesson. If we're asked to work out calculations like this, we can use number lines to start to master some of these mental strategies. So for example, 760 minus 127, we can do it like this. Okay, so we can, partition the numbers and work it out mentally. So mentally, we can say, well, 760 minus 100 is 660. Now we have 27 left. So 660 minus 20 is 640. Now we have 640 and we have 7 left. 640 minus 7 will give us 633. Okay, so these are some ways you can, partition numbers and work mentally to answer questions. Here are 2 methods for subtracting 0.38 from 1. All right. So different mental strategies. So these are the strategies they used. Now, a way to look at it in a bar model form for Tommy's method, Tommy subtracted 0.3, but remember he was actually asked to subtract 0.38, so he is left with 0.08, and then he subtracted 0.08, all right, from 0.7, which is left with 0.62, and now he's saying, well, 1 minus 0.38 is 0.62. Another way is Eva's method. So Eva made 0.38, by adding 0.02 to it to give you 0.34, 0.4. And then she says, okay, but 0.4 to make up 1 is 0.4 plus 0.6. So she's thinking, well, but I've added 0.02, which was not the actual number I was given. I was given 0.38. So that 0.02 she added to 0.38 to make 0.4. She now adds it to 0.6 mentally to get 0.62. So different mental strategies for doing calculations. Can you spot the mistake in this example? Remember our mental strategies. We want to subtract 99 from 827. Here is what the person did. So the person subtracted 100. So which means the person had actually added an extra 1 to what was the person was actually asked to subtract. So in our answer, the answer could have been done with addition. So this is what the person could have represented. So 827 minus 100. And then you say, well, my answer should actually be 728. All right. So make sure you spot mistakes like this. They are really, really important. All right. Okay. It's now time for you to do some practice. So what we've learned so far is you can use mental strategies to add or subtract little numbers into your addition or subtraction calculations to make number bonds. And those number bonds, remember number bonds that you learned in primary school, those number bonds can help you to do calculations mentally really quickly. Pause the video and answer question 4 in 1 minute. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 4, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So here you were asked, draw a diagram to show the mistake that Dexter has made. So Dexter said, I can work out 803 minus 99 by doing 803 minus 100 minus 1. Well, this is the calculation we did earlier, similar to the example, the last example we did. We can see the mistake Dexter did. So here is the mistake. So 803 minus 100 minus 1 will give us 702. But 803 minus 99 will not give us that. So Dexter has made a classic mistake. All right. So by subtracting 100, Dexter is subtracting more than he's been asked to subtract. So in the answer, Dexter should be adding 1 to his actual answer, right? Here is the next one. Pause the video and answer question 5. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 5, here are the answers. So you were asked to look at Dora's method for working out 180 minus 57. You can see she subtracted 50 first and then 7. And then use Dora's method to work out these calculations. Now, the aim of these is for you to start practicing mental methods of, that was a tongue twister, mental methods of doing these calculations. After a while, you get used to it, and that's how you develop your ability to do mental calculations really quickly. All right, mark your work and celebrate your success. Pause the video and answer question 6 in 2 minutes. Assuming you have paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So you were asked to circle calculations that are equivalent to this. They are all equivalent because here, look, this has been partitioned. This has been written in a different way. So 9.9 is the same thing as 10 minus 0.1. And then this is the same thing as adding 1 to this, adding 0.1 to that, but also negating it by subtracting 0.1 from this. So they all represent the same calculation. All right, pause the video and answer questions 7 and 8 in 4 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 7 and 8, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So here you were asked to match each calculation on the left to a calculation on the right. So you can see these calculations are equivalent. So here, for example, I'll just explain with this one. So we've made this 0.1, we've added 0.1 to that, and we've taken that 0.1 from this. So they represent the same thing. So these are things, take note of these because these are really quick ways you can do calculations mentally without actually writing it down. Initially, they may look difficult, but they really aren't. Because now look at this calculation. For example, this one. If somebody, wrote this or asked you the calculation for this, you could mentally tell them because look, 18.5 at 10 is 28.5. So this same calculation that would have looked challenging now looks really easy. You say, if someone asks you 18.6 plus 9.9, you say, okay, I'll take, 0.1, add it to that. That makes it 10 from the 0.1. So 18, really quick ways to do calculations. And then here, Amir and Rose are comparing methods to subtract 0.26 from 1. Here is Amir's method. He subtracted 0.2 and then subtracted 0.06. And then here is Rosie's method. She made, like a little number bond in the decimal form to 0.3. Now she added that to make it 1. She said, okay, to make 1, that's 0.7. And then she took away that she added initially. So that's 0.74. Should have got the same answer. All right. And you're asked to use your preferred method to work these calculations. So again, remember, by practicing these different methods, you start to really strengthen your mental calculation abilities. That brings us to the end of our lesson. So what have we learned so far? We have learned that using these number bond methods, even in decimal form, we can perform calculations that will otherwise look challenging. So, for example, a typical example I was explaining, if someone asks you what is 18.6 plus 9.9, mentally, although it may look challenging, but by practicing mentally to say, oh, 9.9, I just need 0.1 to make it 10, and that 0.1 should come off from the 18.6, so which is 18.5. So my answer is actually just 18.5 plus 10. So my answer is actually 28.5. So these mental strategies will serve you really well in your study of mathematics moving forward. Well done for sticking around and working really hard. Until next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.